Hello everyone. Very good morning. Can someone please confirm if I am audible?
Yes, sir, you are
Good
audible.
morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah. Good morning everyone. Yeah, thanks. Hope you all are doing good. So right now we have only a few number of participants in the session. We can probably get started. Uh, let's see if any more people are going to join in bit. So today what we are going to discuss is about the client-side storage. Yeah.
This attendance is because there is no incentive for participation in live classes.
Okay.
That is my guess. Why? Because in previous term there used to be 100 plus.
Okay, 100 plus. So you might be specific to a few courses, but not in all of the courses, I guess.
There was this live class participation bonus marks.
Yeah, correct, exactly. Anyways, yeah, there's nothing I guess we can do now. Okay, so if we talk about the today's agenda, so today we are going to discuss about client-side storage. Uh, the various things we can make use of in order to store the data on the client or the browser. So, of course, the common ones you would already know that there are cookies. So we are going to discuss a lot more about cookies today. How to work with cookies, how to store cookies in the browser, how to fetch them, or what else you can do. Apart from that, there are two more storages like local storage and session storage. So we'll be talking about those as well. We will first discuss the practical part of it. That means we'll first see that how you can set all of these things in the browser and how you can retrieve the data as and when required. And after that, we will be walking you through the activity and the practice questions for the last week. So currently we are in 7th week. So we'll be walking through activity and practice questions of week 6, since we are talking about these client-side storages. So that was precisely covered in week 6. And after that, we'll also walk you through the week 7 questions as well if the time permits. Okay, before we move forward, let me know if you guys have any doubts. Okay, no doubts, solid. Yeah, so I'll share my screen and so I hope my screen is now visible.
Yes, sir.
Thanks.
Visible, sir.
Okay, so since we are going to talk about cookies, local storage, and all, so we'll be working with the JavaScript precisely, that how can we access these APIs using JavaScript. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a JavaScript file, say index.js, can be any other thing. And here I'm going to write a very simple message, console.log, and let's say hello world. Now, can someone tell me that how can I get this message on the browser? Let's say I have written this, I want to execute this file on the browser. Will browser, print this message on the console for me?
No, sir. We need to go into inspect our developer tools. In that we have the console tab. There it will be visible.
So is there any way that whatever code I'll write here that should automatically be given to the browser's console?
Yeah.
Let's say I want to write some code here, and what will I do is I'll make use of split window. On the right side, let's say I'll open the browser screen. On the left side, I'll open this text editor screen. Whatever code I'll write here, I want the changes to be reflected on the right hand side. That means on the browser screen.
By using live server, that we do not generally.
Okay, let's say if I even open this live server, So it is basically giving such kind of structure as now. Right now, we do not have any HTML file, index.html file as such. So that's why it is giving us this directory kind of structure. Now, if I go to inspect and I'll go to console, so it basically says that no message at all. But you're expecting this message to be there, right?
Yes.
Uh,
We need to go into that index.js file, no? Oh, that file we need to open.
No, sorry, I didn't get it. We need to go into index.js file.
This index.js that is on the left hand side, it is showing now that root directory structure. There is the index.js.
Okay.
Now if you type, I think that will be visible in console. In console, you can use it. In anything you run from there.
Okay, let's say what will I do is I'll just copy this statement and I'll paste it. Okay. But I don't see any changes being made here.
Okay, yes. It needs in browser, it needs HTML page, and in HTML page we need to mention script.
Correct, exactly.
Yes,
so what we are missing
that
here is a document. Exactly. So what will I do is I'll first stop this server. I'll let it be as of now. What will I do is I'll create an HTML file. And in that HTML file, we are going to do, we are going to embed this. Okay. So I'll just leave it as it is. Let's say storage APIs and all. And here I am going to embed that script. All right, now we have this HTML file in place as well with name index.html, which is supposed to be. And what we have done is we have embedded this index.js file as well. Now, do you think that the code that we'll write here, the effects will be shown on the browser?
We are missing the div part, div app. No, that is needed in. I think it will work, sir. No issues.
Yeah, so I'll open it and it should work.
Yes.
So right now we are able to see this message, and we should be able to see the messages we are showing on the console list. So yeah, we are printing this message twice, and that's what is coming. Okay. So now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a split screen.
Sir, in one of the session, Tej sir was writing the code in console. It was not taking line by line. He was able to write multiple line of code and able to run it parallelly in the browser itself. How to do that means I was not able to get that. Okay. What was happening? It was taking line by line execution. There was a run button in his video, and after pressing that,
I tried doing that in Chrome. I couldn't do that. Then I installed Firefox.
Yeah, you can do this in Firefox.
It was happening.
Okay,
so
that is in
Firefox. Console of Firefox. So the functions are a bit different than what you observe in.
Okay. Yeah, here is the button.
So whatever you will write here, you can do that. Okay. So let's say if you're installing the Firefox for the first time, you might not be able to, paste the text directly here. You will have to write a small text like allow paste or allow pasting, something like that. I forgot about that. Maybe when you will face that issue, you can try typing it, and after that you will be able to paste whatever stuff you want to. Yeah, once you are done writing all of the code, you can click on the run button. And even if we discussed, I guess we discussed in the last or probably previous session that Firefox is usually preferred for all of such kind of stuff. Yeah, right now we have both of these windows running in parallel. Now, what we want to discuss is about storage APIs. So we'll start with the cookies. Would anybody of you, like to say anything about cookies, whatever you know?
So instead of storing the user's client's information completely on the server, that would need a large database. So considering that fact, what is done is that we use a cookie. The cookie is the session very first time when you use any server, the server is going to note down some information regarding the client, and that is stored in client side as the form of the cookie. next time whenever you are going to contact to the same server, that cookie are sent to that server. So server knows that previously you have been identified with some token, and like this, it identifies that you are a authenticated user. You cannot edit the cookies. The cookies are also having the time stamping, as I able to recall. That much I can say.
Okay. Yeah, correct. We use cookies for precisely the purpose that you have just explained. Now, if we'll talk about that, how can we set up cookies? So, of course, as you have mentioned, this is in most of the cases is done via the server. That means server sets the cookies on the client's browser. But here, just for the experimentation purpose, we'll be doing everything via JavaScript here. So let's see how all of this works. So can someone tell me, let's say if I want to set some cookies for this browser or for this specific domain. Now, I hope at least you are aware that whatever we set, that means either cookies, local storage, or session storage. They all are done basically for a particular domain, right? Or instead for a particular origin. And origin precisely, consists of these three things only. That is the scheme, your protocol, this domain, like here it is localhost as of now, and of course the port number. If any of this, these three things changes, the origin changes. Let's say if you change the port number, you change the, what is this domain name or scheme. So yeah, can someone tell me that how can I set some cookies for this domain, that is localhost colon 5500 using JavaScript? Of course, from server side, you can use the set cookie header and you can set as
by using session storage or local storage.
Sorry,
by using session storage or local storage.
No, right now we are talking about cookies. We'll come on to those later. Okay, so what happens is that I hope you all are aware that we have this document object, right? And inside this document object, we have an attribute called cookie. Okay. What we can do is we can make use of this attribute in order to set or retrieve cookies, in order to add or fetch cookies from the browser. So what you need to do is, this is just an attribute. So you will be, assigning some value to it. Now, doesn't matter which storage we are talking about, be it cookies or local storage or session storage, whatever we. All of these things are going to store data in the form of key values. That means there will be a key and there will be a value that will be corresponding to the key. This is how the data will be stored. So here, since we need to provide key value pair, what we'll be doing is we will be separating key value pairs, or sorry, we will be separating the key and value part of it using an equal sign. Okay. Now here, let's say if I simply write key, and here I write value. So this is basically the form that we'll be using in order to store some cookies in the browser. So firstly key, and then an equals to sign, and after that the value of it. Now, if I'll save it, do you think that the cookie has been stored on the browser? Do you think so? See, we are using the live server extension. That means whatever changes that we'll make here, but after we save that file, so all of the changes should automatically get reflected here without even refreshing.
No, sir, it won't get saved.
Why?
So I think we are assigning that right now. We need to write it, document.write or something. I'm not sure.
Okay. So see, that's the only thing that we need to do in order to store cookies. I'm assuming that this cookie would have been saved in this browser for this particular domain. So I'll just go to the cookies tab and see there is something. Yes, you can see that there is something called key, which is basically the name of this cookie. I'll just open it in the big screen. So here is the name. The value to this key is value itself. So that's what we did. So we created a cookie with key name as key, with value is value. There are certain other things as well, like domain, like path. So by default, the domain will be the same. That is this localhost colon 5500. The path is going to be the current path if we are not specifying it explicitly. Expires and maximum age, we'll be talking about it maybe in some time. And the size of it is 8. So it is 3 plus 5, so that means 8. It is saying that whether this cookie is to be sent only on HTTPS or a secured protocol or something like that, and there are few other things. So what we saw is that the moment we wrote that code, document.cookie, and provided some value to it, it automatically creates a cookie in the browser. Now I'll again get back to the split mode. Now let's say if I'll write name equals to Abhi. What do you think? What is going to happen after I save this file? After I save the latest changes? Anyone?
We should not be able to change cookie.
Additional.
The
Okay.
key is different, so it get added, I think.
It will get added. But what will happen with the last cookie that we added? That is this key value.
That
Will it get lost? Will it still persist, or
it will still persist? I think.
Correct. It will still persist because, as we know that the expiry for that particular cookie was session. Right now we are still in the session, so that's why it won't get deleted. And what we have done is we have modified a JavaScript file. That means we are going to add one more key value there in cookies. So the moment I'll save it, you will see that one more row will be added in this table. So you can see that there are two rows now. One is this key value. The other one is this key. Now here also, if we will talk about the things like name is name, of course, value is Abhi. The domain is this 127.2.2.1 colon 5500. Path is still the slash. Since we have not specified what the expiry or what the maximum age of this cookie would be, it will by default be taken as session. And size is still 8 because we are precisely using 8 characters only, combining the characters of both key and values.
So Abhi, I have a question.
Yeah.
Just a clarification. The cookie is appearing the moment we save the JavaScript file.
Yeah.
That is just because it is behind the live server, right? Practically, in the practical scenario, we have to reload the HTML, then only the cookie gets saved, isn't it?
So how are you creating those cookies? That's what the question I want to ask.
No, that's correct. We'll get to that. Now, whatever demonstration that you are making,
yeah.
If I have to try, let's say I'm not using Visual Code, the cookie will appear only when I reload the HTML file. Here, it is happening just because it is behind the live server.
Live server, correct.
That's correct, no?
Yes.
So we have to reload the HTML, then only the JavaScript gets executed.
Okay. So what you are saying is that, let's say if we are not using live server, we are simply opening that HTML document in the browser in that case, right?
No. If we are not using the live server, and we are making the change to .js file, then the browser will not load the cookie automatically.
Exactly. You will have to reload that HTML file in order to see the latest changes.
Right. Just because it is behind the live server, it is happening that the moment you save, the cookie is appearing in the browser.
Correct. Exactly. Yes.
I tried doing with live server. Then also I had to reload the page.
No. You're probably doing something wrong. Won't be the case if you are using live server.
I tried, but yes, I had to reload. Anyway, I'll check again.
I don't think so. Maybe not sure. Okay. Yeah. So here, what we did was that we created two cookies, name, Abhi. Okay, so this was the key and this was the value, and there are we saw that certain other things or attributes are associated with each of the cookies that can be that is basically some meta information for that particular cookie, that what the expiry would be, what the size is, what the domain is, what the path is, and all. Now, what we can do is we can specify all of these things explicitly as well while specifying the cookie, or while defining the cookie, while creating the cookie. What we can do is we can specify for what domain we want to create that cookie, what the path of that cookie should be, what the expiry of that cookie would be, and things like that. So for example, what I'm going to do right now is, let's say I'm going to specify the path, right? On what path this cookie should be created. Now, for that, I will have to use this attribute called path. And here I can specify whatever path I want to create this cookie on. So I will just write some, dummy path here, let's say ABC. And of course, I am going to change the key value pair so that we can, differentiate between the cookies that we added previously, the ones that we are going to add recently now. Let's say I just changed it to city. Now, if I click on save, do you think that this cookie will get added here? Does anybody of you think that if I save this file?
So the path attribute is wrong here. I don't think it will get added.
I
It will
guess if
check.
we go to that particular path, it may appear there.
Okay, so let's say I save this, and you saw that this page automatically refreshed, but we are still not able to see this particular cookie that we have tried to add recently. That is city. The value of which is Delhi. So we are not able to see that right now. So as someone suggested that if we'll try to go to that path, we can probably get to see that cookie that we have recently added. So let us try going to that path. What will I do is instead I'll open it in a different tab. So what is the path? Path is ABC. Okay, one more question here I want to ask is, let's say if you are expecting this cookie to be there, that is city equals to Delhi. But what about the previous two cookies? So we have already created two cookies, one is key value, the other one is name. Do you think that those two cookies should also be there, should also be present at this path?
It won't be at that path.
Why do you think so?
Because when we are redefining it, we are giving a path.
In my
Earlier, we
case,
did
it
not
got
specify.
stored in the same path.
Sorry?
In my case, it got stored in the same path.
In the same path. Are you sure?
Yes, and yes,
that means
and
on the
it
slash
is
itself.
on the localhost, and in the path file, the path column it is showing /abc.
I'm not sure. Maybe there is something that is not going right at your end. Because if you are explicitly specifying the path, I don't think
all
it should
other
get
cookies
added.
are there, and this is also there. All other cookies are showing as path as slash, and this is showing as path as /abc.
Can you do one thing? Can you restart your server once again? Sure. What's the issue? But
Okay,
meanwhile, if I'll show you these things here, so right now I'm on this /abc path, so it is saying that cannot get it because we do not have any such endpoint defined. So if I'll go to inspect and I'll go to applications and cookies, so you are able to see that we are, or we are getting this city Delhi cookie here, but along with that, we are also getting the cookies that we previously added for the root path. So you can see here the path is // and here it is going to be /abc. If I can expand it, here it is.
So it is giving summary of all cookies, but this previous two cookies are related to only root folder, root path.
Yeah, but at least you can access these cookies at any path you want, right?
Yes.
As long as the domain remains the same.
Yes.
So here you can see that we only have two cookies since we were all creating these cookies for the default path, that is root itself. But after that, we tried to set a cookie explicitly for a particular path that was /abc, and then we saw that that cookie didn't get added for the default path. But when we visited this path that is /abc, we are able to see all of the cookies along with the one that we specifically set for this. Right, Vimlesh, are you able to work out that?
No, it is appearing in the home / path itself.
Sure. What is the issue?
I don't. I'm using Firefox itself like you are using, and it is appearing in path. I mean, host path. If you want, I can send you a screenshot separately.
Yeah, probably that would be better.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so we created one more cookie and we even tried to set the path of it. Similarly, what you can do is you can even set the domain. But of course, it doesn't really make sense that if you are on the domain, let's say abc.com, and you are setting cookies on what, let's say, sql.com, something like that. So it is possible, but if you will try to do such thing, let's say like the example that I just gave, if you try to do such thing, I guess the cookies will be rejected in such case if those are set by the server side from the server. Now, like we have tried to specify the path for a particular cookie, we saw that it is even appearing for that particular path as well. There are certain other things that we can do. For example, we can even set the expiry. So if you want to set the expiry of it, we need to make use of this attribute called expires itself. So what I'm going to do is city equals to Delhi. So I'm deleting this cookie from here as of now. Okay. And I'll close this as well. I'll again come back to here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to specify the expires attribute here. So what this expires attribute requires us to enter is basically the date in GMT form, or basically the GMT string. So if we talk about GMT string, so it would be something like, for example, what is the day today? So today is Saturday. What I'm going to do here is I'm saying Saturday. The date is 18th of June, 2022. I'm not sure if I'm writing the correct thing, but I'll just cross verify it after writing it. What about the other things? Okay, so we have to specify the timings. So let's say the timings can be 18. That means 6 p.m. in the evening. And after that, we have to write this GMT. So Saturday, 18th June, 2022. Let's see if this works.
Let us set it for 9:45. No, we can check it later.
Yeah, sure. So 9:45. Okay, so you see that it get added here, and it is now showing that the expiry or the max stage for that particular cookie is not session anymore. It is basically this, that what you have specified here, and it will automatically get expired when when this time limit will exceed. So instead of specifying it to be 9:45, let us try to specify something close from now. So I'm able to see 9:34 as of now. So let me specify 9:35. Okay, so it has been refreshed to whatever the latest changes that we made, and now we can see that the time is also 9:35. So can someone tell me that why this cookie is not disappearing?
We saved it at 9:35.
So maybe if I try to refresh from here, it will work. But yeah, let us just wait for this to become 9:36 and see if it disappears from here.
So time is expired, but cookie will be maintained, because in future you may need the same cookie with the another timestamping.
No, sorry, I didn't get it.
By the concept of cookie, we reuse the cookies, no? So I think there is no point in deleting the cookie. So that's why it is not getting deleted. Maybe it is reused in future.
No, but if the expiry has passed, what is the purpose of even keeping it there?
Right now we are
so let's
just
say
holding...
the time is 9:36. The cookie is still here. Not sure what is happening. Let me do one thing. Instead of 9:35, so today is 18th June, right? Saturday, 18th June, 2022, 9:35, 00 GMT. I hope I'm not making any mistake here.
Sir, it is in GMT. It should be in IST, right? because in GMT,
okay, correct.
Yeah,
So
9:30 should be different time.
So time should be different here. Yeah, correct. Yeah, I forgot about that. So it's the GMT time. So if I try to
405.
okay,
405 it should be. Let us
so
do it
now
407. 407
okay.
or 8 maybe.
So yeah, it basically doesn't get added. The reason is that this expiry has already been passed. So let's say if I try to make it 9, so it is there, and after whenever this time will exceed, we will see that this cookie will automatically disappear from here. It may not be automatically disappearing. We may need to click on this refresh button. But yes, once this time is expired, we will be able to see that this cookie will disappear eventually. Yes.
So we are saying we mention IST time, but still we have written GMT.
No. If you
this is
write
GMT
9:45
time
here,
for
that
IST.
means that is the GMT time.
Okay.
So let's say the time of 9:45 in GMT is basically something 49 at our place, something like that.
No, we are 5 hours 30 minutes ahead of GMT. That's why.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, correct. So now if I will be refreshing this here, maybe the time has not gotten over yet. Okay, so we'll come back to that. Meanwhile, we'll wait for it. The other thing through which we can basically set the expiry of this cookie is using this max age attribute as well. Right now, we just saw that how it can be done using this expires attribute. The similar thing can be done using max age as well. Now, one thing to note here is that let's say if we are not specifying the expiry of the cookie using this expires attribute or using this max age attribute, what would be the default expiry?
The midnight in the same day.
The default expiry would be the session, right? We just saw that when we created the initial cookies, we didn't use any of these attributes, and the expiry was set to session. Okay. Let me see if, yeah. So that cookie got deleted.
Now we give a timestamping, and for that session only the cookie is alive. What if the same client is going to come again to the server, and we know that we reissue the same, we work with the same cookie in that case? Then how that is maintained here?
So that's why it means you can set the expiry for that particular cookie.
No. Actually, it has been already expired. It has been already deleted from this table now.
Okay.
So now that information is not available.
Correct,
how
yeah.
it will be known next time that the same cookie we have to use?
So again, the server will has to create that cookie on the client side. If the cookie is expired, of course, you cannot make use of it once again. That cookie needs to be created once again.
So every time the copy of the cookie is created with the new timestamping, is it the case?
May not be the case. What you can do is you can set this expiry to something too far from right now. Let's say what I have written right now is 18th of June. If you want, you can even set it to 20th of June. That means the cookie won't expire.
In short, cookie will be used till it doesn't get expired. Yeah, once it gets expired, you need to go for the second cookie. You cannot reuse the same cookie. Okay.
No. What do you mean by second cookie?
Another cookie means you have to go for some another cookie. Next time the client is
the cookie needs to be created again in that case. Okay. If the cookie has already been expired.
Okay, sir. Yeah. But
like
I was thinking that
Google Chrome and again
I was thinking like it is like a identification to the server. So server will be maintaining some ID information for that client permanently, and every time it is going
cookies
to
are precisely
refresh.
used for maintaining the sessions. Yes. So let's say what servers will usually do is they will store the session ID in the form of cookies on the client.
Yeah, that was
that session ID would be used in the to and fro communication.
Okay. Clear, sir. Okay.
We also delete cookies manually many times. Then again, it has to create.
Yeah, there is one more thing that I would suggest you to try out right now. So of course, I cannot show it right here. Let's say if you have a Facebook account or if you have a Gmail account, what you can do is you can just go there, go to inspect, go to applications and cookies, you will see that there will be so many cookies that persist for that particular page. Just try deleting all of those cookies from there. And after that, observe what happens. What will happen is that the session will get over, or you will be kicked out of the session. That means you will be required to log in to your Facebook account or to your Gmail account once again. You can try this thing right now as well if you want to, but of course I cannot show it right here. So that's something you can try. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, set the expiry for a particular cookie using a different attribute, that is max age. Let's say I'm going to say max age is. So here we have to specify the value in seconds, the number of seconds this cookie is going to expire of, from the time it is being set. So let's say what I'm saying is that it is 10. 10 means that the cookie is supposed to get expired in the next 10 seconds from now. That means from the time when I'll save this file. So let's say I'll click, I'll press Ctrl S. So you see that it has basically created this expiry in the UTC format according to this 10 seconds criteria. I'll just wait for 10 seconds. After that, I'll click on this refresh button. We'll observe that this cookie will still, will disappear from here. So I guess 10 seconds are over. If I click on refresh, so it should get disappear. Yeah. So you can see that it disappears. So these are the two things or two attributes through which you can set the expiry for a particular cookie.
And sir, what if we just write max age and do not specify the value?
I guess it would be considered as session only, the by default one.
Okay.
Yeah, it will be considered session.
Okay.
So this brings one more question in my mind. Let's say what happens if you specify both of these attributes, that is max age and what other, that is expires. What do you think? Which one will take the priority?
Then the priority will be decided. There should be some priority between two.
Yeah. So I guess that max age should be given the priority. Let me just check once again. So I'll just change this timing to 4, let's say 14. Okay, so 14 is already over. I'll make it 16. Yeah. And apart from that, I'll also make it, max age equals to 10 seconds. So yeah, according to me or according to this behavior, the max age is taking the priority in that case, because you saw that when I changed this or when I added this max age attribute of 10, it automatically changed the timestamp from later one to some recent one. So if I click on refresh,
but if max age is beyond the expiry time, then that may change the priorities.
Yeah, that may happen. Yes. Or maybe if I try to specify it before we specify this expires attribute. Okay, that will remain same. I guess still the max age is taking the priority.
I think whatever time window is nearer toward the current time.
Probably yes. What disappeared. So what we can do is, let's say, I'll remove this max age attribute.
So we must have it max age 100 and expiry with 60 seconds.
Let's say what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it 17, and yeah, now I'm going to set the max age attribute to something
longer.
Set it to 360.
Yeah, sure. $422. That means check. No, looks like it is still prioritizing the max age. Change the max or the expiry of this cookie to 422. Previously, it was something 416 or 17.
Let us change it to 419.
Sure. It still remains the same.
Okay, got it.
So that means message is taking the priority. Whatever you will define in the message, that will override whatever is there in the expires. There might be few other attributes as well, if I can remember correctly. So, for example, you want these cookies to be sent only on a secured protocol, let's say HTTPS and not over HTTP. That can also be done, I guess, specifying the secure attribute, that is a Boolean attribute. There might be some other values possible for that particular attribute as well. But yeah, maybe. So if I'm not wrong, that is secure, and it can be used. Okay, yeah. So the moment I wrote secure here, what you can see is you see this tick mark over here in front of this secure. That means this will be transmitted over a secured protocol. Otherwise, it won't. Get this clear. Yeah, all right. So this is how we can basically work with cookies. We can set cookies. We can specify different parameters that can be associated with them. Yeah, we can put, of course, the most important one is basically the expiry. That's what we need to keep in our mind. But we also need to make sure that if you are working on some applications where the privacy of the user is basically a great concern. So you should not be setting the expiry or the message attribute something too far from whenever you are creating that cookie. Otherwise, the user's privacy might be at risk. So you have to make sure that the cookies get expired as soon as possible or as early as possible.
That is, I mean, that is what might happen in a bank's login session when they pop up the message that your session is going to
expire. It basically gives you some time. Some time is associated with each session. Not only that, if you will go to income tax website. Sorry?
Clicking on OK will reset the time. I mean, it will give some additional extra time. I mean, when the message pops up, like your session is going to end soon.
Yeah.
Click OK to stay on the page. Then that clicking on OK might give some additional time for expiry.
Okay, it may happen. So I'm not sure about that. So yeah, what I have tried is this income tax filing website. So they're also sorry, just give me a minute. Yeah, so what happens on that income tax filing website is that you are also allotted some session duration, let's say 40 minutes, that after 40 minutes your session is going to expire, and something similar happens there as well. That let's say if you ask for some extension in a particular session, they probably add 10 minutes or 12 minutes more in that session itself. So something like that happens as far as I can remember.
Typically, they create a new cookie and send you back.
They probably create a cookie with the same key value pair, just with a different expiry or something like that. Yeah. So, like you just saw, we are using the same key value pair all along, but what we are doing is we are simply changing the attributes. So, what this is going to do is this is just going to override the previous cookie. All right. So means we just saw that how we can basically set the cookies in the browser. But now can someone tell me that how can we access those cookies? Let's say now we have these 3 cookies in place. What I want is I want to access them. How can I do that? Any idea how can I access these cookies if I want to?
No, sir.
Okay, so since we were using this attribute, cookie attribute from the document object, we can simply access the same in order to fetch the data from the cookies that is stored in cookies. So for simplicity, what will I do is I'll just say console.log and I'll just print it right here. Now, if I go to console, you will see that I'll get all of the cookies that are stored. Key, value, name, abhi, city, and date. Okay, so there is one more thing. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm, basically, making or adding the space character after each semicolon. So this is suggested, or this is even made mandatory in one of the RFCs, but that's not something that is still mandatory for all of the browsers. If I will not give this space, the browsers are still okay, and they will create these cookies as this. So basically, the purpose of putting the semicolon and this space is so that one can differentiate between multiple cookies. So what happens in case of cookies is one of the disadvantages is that if you need to fetch the cookies, what will happen is you will have to use this document.cookie attribute, and what will it do is it will fetch all of the cookies that are in that particular origin. Now, there is no way through which you can fetch a particular cookie. Let's say you want a cookie to be fetched whose key is name. Now, for that case, you will have to write your own logic. Right? So just to make those things similar, one RFC is there that says that there should be a space so that multiple cookies can be separated out, and it becomes easy to access a particular cookie or to write our own logic or something like that. So right now you can see that when I try to console the value of document.cookie, it just dumps out as it is everything on the screen. So yeah, now once again I would like to mention it that right now there are just 3 cookies. Let's say if I will be having 100 cookies, or let's say 50 cookies for this particular origin, all of those 50 cookies will be dumped at a single place. So that's why you will be required to write your own logic in case you are interested in for looking for a particular cookie, or a cookie with a particular key name or a particular value, or whatever it is.
So this semicolon is by default written by the browser, no?
No, you have to specify the semicolon to differentiate between. So see, what is happening is, yes.
List of cookies being written when we write console.log document.cookie. This key, value, name, abhi, and city, Delhi, here they are separated with the semicolon.
Yeah, correct.
So it will be there, no? So we can use a split with semicolon. We can separate and further we can process.
Yeah, correct. You can do that as well.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so this is what I wanted to discuss regarding cookies. How can we create cookies? How can we fetch cookies? How can we associate certain parameters with the cookies we create? Okay, so whatever we have done so far, we have done everything using JavaScript, but in general, what we'll be doing is, of course, the cookies will be created by server. So there is one header called set cookie, that you can basically append in the response headers. And in case you want to, add multiple cookies from the client's machine on the client's browser, then you can use that header multiple times. So here itself, let's say if you want to, define multiple cookies, what you can do is you can, do something like, like this. That means you can add as many cookies as you want by separating them with a semicolon. In the same way, if you want to do that, using that header that is set cookie, then you can use that header multiple times in the response. So if I'll basically click on save, so you will see that this cookie will also get added in the applications tab. If I go, okay, right now we are setting these attributes. So
that means
if you're setting this attribute,
that means this max age expires. Those are reserved keywords kind of thing.
Correct. Yes.
We have to write a different row, different line for.
Okay. Anyways, yeah, that can be done. So similarly, in case of in case you want to create cookies from the server, so you can make use of that set cookie header. There might be some other mechanisms as well. And even if you're doing it using server, I guess there are some methods through which you can even, get the specified cookie, but I'm not sure. maybe I'll have to check that once. Yeah, so this is precisely what I wanted to discuss about cookies. Let me know if you guys have any doubts here.
Sir, I just missed one point. So multiple cookies I was not able to set. Is that possible?
Yeah, so
just
what you need
explained
to do is you will have to write this document.cookie once again.
Okay. In that case, only it is possible. In a same line, it is not possible. No?
I guess it should be possible. Let me try doing it once again. Just give me a minute.
I tried, it was not working.
It's not working. I'll change it to this. All right, yeah. So that means we can only create one at a time. Yeah, so this may be done because
space after semicolon. I mean, you said that is required for some kind of convention to follow.
Yes.
But that is for a particular cookie. It is kind of separating different fields.
Sorry, can you repeat?
Like space after colon is to separate certain fields in that particular cookie, like key value from expiry from max age kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because that is only for a particular cookie.
Yeah.
That requirement is only for a particular cookie, because we saw that we cannot write two cookies in the same line of code. So then what is the meaning whether we keep a space or not? It is just a separator, the semicolon.
Okay. Yeah, just a minute. Let me check that if there is some other way, maybe. Okay, let's say JS cookie is empty. Maybe this article should also talk about that RFC somewhere. Okay, yeah, this is the RFC. So here you can also read this statement. Let's note that each key and value pair may be surrounded by a white space, space or tab character. In fact, this RFC even mandates a single space after each semicolon, but some user agents may not abide by this. So basically, what we can understand from this is that if you will add this, what I say, space character, so it might be easier for certain browsers to read those attributes like expires attribute, like max age attribute and all. But again, since this is just an RFC as of now, this is not being made mandatory. But maybe going forward, this can be a mandation as well. But right now, it is not. This is just an RFC. So these are, basically RFCs itself, which are basically reviewed and later they become.
So basically, it's kind of guideline.
Currently, it is guideline. Yes, maybe, but in the coming future, we can see it becoming a rule or some kind of standard. Yeah, so that's even a good article. Maybe you can read about it as well. If there are certain things that we might have missed out in the session, you will probably get to see them here. Okay, so is there anything else about cookies?
No, sir, it's clear.
Okay. So now after cookies, what we want to discuss is about session storage. So I'll just delete this from here, or maybe. So for session storage, we can basically do two things. One is the session storage object. The other one is the session storage API. So if we are using API, we can use methods. If we are using object, we can work the way we work with objects in JavaScript. So we are going to use this object called session storage. And if we want to create a key value pair in session storage for this particular origin, what we can do is we can simply say dot So right now you are able to see these methods here, like set item, remove item, length, key, clear item, or sorry, get item or clear. So these are the methods that are supported by the API, or these are basically the methods of the storage API. And since these session storage and the local storage, they are basically inheriting from that storage API, so they will also get the access to all of these methods. But right now, we'll see few of the things using simple objects, the way we work in JavaScript in objects. So what I'm going to do is I'm again going to create a a key value pair in the session storage. And again, let's say I'm creating it to be name and the value is up. So if I want to see the session storage, where can I see it? Yeah. So if I want to see the session storage, where can I see it?
There is a session storage
in application storage section.
Yeah. So we are here and we can go to this tab like we were just navigating to the cookies tab for now. But now we'll go to session storage. So here, this is the first cookie that you can basically ignore since we are working with live server. So it basically creates this key value pair in the session storage. So this is something that you can ignore. But yeah, this is something that you need to focus on, that we just created a key value pair with key name and the value Abhi. So this got created in the session storage. Now the similar thing could happen then using the API method as well. So with the API method, we can make use of set item. Item. Okay, I is capital. And here we need to provide two arguments. One is the key. The second one is the value to that key. So here we can say like place is talent. So if I save this, I will be able to see this new key value pair being added in the session storage. Okay. The advantages of these session storage and these local storage, we'll discuss them. But one of them is that you can directly access a particular key or a particular value by just providing the key or index as well. So we'll talking about the index later on. But right now, if I talk about this session storage dot get item. So here, what you have to do is you have to provide the key. That means you want to access a key value pair, and what you are required to do is you just need to pass the key here in this parameter. Let's say I'm going to pass place. What this is going to return is the value to that particular key if it exists. So if I save it and I go to console, okay, I need to basically print it. So now you can see that this returned Delhi. But instead, let's say if I try to access some value that is not even present in the session storage, what do you think? What will happen?
Error?
No, JavaScript will hardly return any error. I guess this is going to return undefined.
Undefined.
Null. Okay, this is returning null. Okay, so this is how the get item method can be used. Are there any other items? So there is this remove item. That means if you want to remove a specific key value pair, so you can do that. What you are required to do is just pass the key for that particular key value pair. So we know that there is a key value pair that we have created with the key as place and value as Delhi. I'm going to delete that. I'll first go to the applications and see if it still persists. So right now we are able to see, yes, this exists, place and Delhi, but the moment I'll save this, it should get deleted from here. So we saved this file and you saw like it got deleted. Okay. Are there any other methods? So there is the clear. So before using clear, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a few more cookies. Let's say right now there are two cookies, name Abhi, place Delhi. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the clear method. So clear and yeah, we don't need to pass any argument here. What it is going to do is, as you can guess from the name, it is going to delete all of the key value pairs that exist in the storage for this particular domain in the session storage. So you saw that everything got it.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
In my case, it is not showing up the second cookie. What could be the possible reason?
Have you commented out this fifth line?
Yeah. No, I haven't written that fifth line. I was trying with the first 3 lines.
Okay, you are trying with the first 3 lines. So place and tally.
Even that
name
console, that is also not working, console.log. It is showing me only first cookie now. The second one is not showing up.
Are you sure that this I is capital in set item?
Yeah, yes, sir, it's capital. Get item. Yes, in storage is also capital.
Okay, so what you're saying is that the first one is working. That means first one is showing up in this table, but second
Yes,
one
sir.
is not showing up.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, which browser you are using?
Edge, the same that you are using.
Okay, same browser.
After it is showing, is this first time underscore log from the line server true?
Sorry, can you repeat?
In key value pair, it is showing first is a name and then Abhi.
Okay.
And in second, it is having is this first time underscore log.
Yeah, sure.
From
that
line
is
server
a flag set by this live server extension.
That is true. The second one is not coming up. I refreshed it as well.
Okay, can you just copy that code and paste it in the chat box?
Yes, sir, sure.
So Chandrasekhar, you are using get item.
Yes.
You need to use set item.
Okay. Okay. Sorry, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So the method that we used recently was this clear. That means it is going to clear whatever key value pairs are present in the session storage for this particular origin. There are some other things as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to refresh this so that I can see these 2 cookies once again appear in this table. There is one called this key. So what this key does is it basically we need to provide the index, and this is going to return us the value present at that particular index. So for example, we first created called a key value pair called name. Second time we added this place. So 0 means it is going to return us this Abhi. But again, I need to print it somehow that I can see.
So is this first time login in server, is that also a key value pair?
Yeah, correct. It is. You will see that the value to that flag is true or false. It's a Boolean entry. So if I'll go to console, so you can see that I'm able to see this name here. So what is this name? Okay, so it basically returns us what the key at that particular index is. So this is not going to return as the value. This is going to return as the key name, and key name is name itself. And if I write 1 here, so 1 means it is going to return as the place. Sorry, okay, it is this first name. Yeah. So 2 should return as this place. And if I'll enter 3, what will happen?
Null.
It will return null.
Should give null. Yes.
Sir, are these keys sorted? That's why it is appearing in this order? Or,
Sorry?
Because when I saw that session storage,
Hmm.
the key at 1, the key with index 1 was actually there at the first. So is it in a sorted order or something like that?
So it's a sequence that matters, that in what sequence these cookies, these key value pairs are getting it. So you saw that the first key value pair was this Abhi, and after that.
Okay. So means we created in this way, but it appears in a sorted order in the session storage window. Is it?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So where am I? I'm on the performance. Okay. application. Yeah, okay. Is there any other method that we can use right now? Maybe session storage dot, but we have not used. Okay, len. So this len, what it is going to do is it is going to return us the number of key value pairs that are stored in this session storage. So how many key value pairs are there?
3.
Yeah, there are 3 key value pairs. So we should get 3 the console. Yeah, so we are getting 3. Yeah, so these were the 5 or 6 methods that can be used with both session storage and local storage. So first one was set item, through which we can create a key value pair. Then get item, through which we can fetch a particular value for a particular key. After that, we saw remove item, through which we can remove a key value pair by providing the key. Then we saw clear, that can be used to delete all of the key value pairs from the session storage. After that, we saw key, which is going to return as the value of the key. That means what the name of the key is at a particular index. And after that, we saw this length that is going to return as the number of key value pairs. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so there are 6 methods in total, and the similar 6 methods can be used with local storage as well. Now, right now we see that session storage is here. Right now, okay, so basically the difference that we talk about between local storage and session storage is that session storage is something that gets vanished after the end of each session, whereas local storage is something that persists forever until and unless it is manually deleted. So can someone tell me that how can I end the session here?
By closing the tab.
I'm removing all of these code so that whenever I'll open this tab once again, so this code doesn't run again. So if I close this tab, do you think the session would be closed? Okay, I'm writing here.
Unless it is persistent, it should be.
No, closing. Live server, we need to close.
Application, and if I go to session storage. Okay, so it got what I say. The session got refreshed. What I did was I closed the tab. I didn't refresh it. So let's say if I'll just uncomment this and I'll refresh this. So see, this is still there. So you need to close the tab, right? Refresh one more. The other thing you can.
Sorry, I'm having one doubt regarding this one. There was one flag that is this first time log from the live server?
Yes.
Yes, and when I'm writing console.log and try to print the session key at that index 1, so it's showing up that flag. So will that be always there by default?
So if you're using live server, it is due to live server. So if you're not using live server, it won't be there.
And its index is fixed, or that is going to get changed?
No, I don't think the index is fixed. Or maybe what is the current index? I guess it should be 0, 1.
I'm getting 1. Everybody's getting 1. That's why.
It
no, but
maybe
earlier it was like name was appearing before this.
Yes.
Key.
Name was taking a 0th value, and this was coming as a first one.
And that's why I asked that question, how this key indexing is happening.
Okay, so let's say if I once again instantiate it. Okay, so the place came here. Console. So if I am going to print 0, so that is still name. 1 is still that. So name is still appearing on the top.
Yes, sir.
So make n as a capital letter.
Sorry?
Make n in the name a capital letter. I think I is capital, so I think it's correct. I think it is sorting based on the.
Based on what?
Based on the key. If you make n as a capital N, then probably it will appear after is this first. Right?
No, but even if it is sorting based on the keys, so name and place should come together, because both of these keys are completely written in lowercase, and the I here is written in uppercase. So this should come first.
No, sir, it's always coming in index 1. I tried adding another one, session storage.
Yeah, but index starts from 0. Index starts from 0.
Yes, sir, but that flag is taking index 1 in all cases.
Yeah, so that's what we are trying to understand, that how is it basically sorted.
Yes, yes.
If it is sorted based on the key values, so in that case, this should come first at index 0. Or maybe if I'll try to add something, let's say place here and Delhi 1. Yeah, I don't think there might be something else that is happening.
So can we see that from the beginning, like how these session variables or these are getting stored from the beginning, so that we have the idea that whether this first time is actually getting saved after your creation of the first one. So can we check, like,
Sure.
if we don't do anything, what is happening?
Sure. So firstly, I cleared all of the key value pairs that are stored. And just comment this, and I refreshed. So you see that this flag came up. And after that, I'm going to create this name Abhi.
So can we print with the key value as well, like key 0? Let's see that is it really at the index 0, and then we check it.
Sorry. Can you repeat once again?
So can we just uncomment this console.log key 0 so that we can see and prove that yes, it is in the 0 index, and after that it is getting changed. So
it is at 0.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if I'll change it to Abhi, or let's say instead I'll make it something like that, Abhi. No. So yeah, the string sorting is definitely not something which is happening here.
Sir, you made a name should be in storage.name.
I intentionally made it capital A so that it should come up before this is this first time key, if it is sorted based on the key value.
So can we check again what is there in the key 0?
Yeah, sure. Would have been printed here. Still that.
Okay.
If I refresh it, yeah, still that flag.
It means it's random, no?
Yeah, I'm not sure in what sequence these are probably getting added. Not sure.
Okay, sir.
Sir, if you don't mind, can we discuss that question in which the button was saving its value, but it's eventually the value was coming as false. Actually, I wrote it in the forum as well. So you said that after the deadline get over, you will discuss.
Sure. Yeah, we can discuss that. Do you want me to discuss it right away or when we finish?
Because that is also related with this session and local storage. That's why I was thinking.
Okay. Yeah, sure. We can discuss that. I'll just finish the local storage quickly as well, and after that we'll move on.
Okay.
So is it in week 6 or week 7 or okay? It would be in week 6 if it is
week 6
related to local storage. Okay. Okay. Now, so we have seen all of the 6 methods that we can use with session storage, and the similar things can be done with the local storage as well. So yeah,
I believe there is no particular logic, because sometimes it comes up and sometimes it goes down.
You're talking about the index?
Yes, is this first time that thing?
Okay. Yeah, it may be. I'm not sure that in what order they are basically organized. We will have to check this out. This is right. Okay. So what I was saying is that the similar 6 methods can be used with the local storage API as well, or you can use that local storage object the way we work with objects in JavaScript as well, without using these API methods. This can also work. The only difference between session storage and local storage is that the session storage is going to vanish after the end of the session, whereas the local storage will persist across the sessions. Okay, so user agent is basically the browser. Okay, all right. Yeah, so thanks, Govind. Thanks for sharing the resource. Okay, yeah, so local storage is going to persist across the sessions, but session storage will get vanished after the end of the session. We just saw that if you will close the tab, the session will end, or if you will even close this server and open it again, you will see a new session will get started. Now, if I'll come to that question that I guess someone was referring.
So local storage, it will be stored on the hard drive.
No, not on the hard drive. It will be here itself. Let me come back here. So you can see that's local storage, and here it will come. So right now I have already, I'm not sure where does this values come from. Okay, so I might have done something in at some other place, but since the domain remains the same, the origin remains the same, these values are still from the last time. So you can see that I might have tried that months ago, and still these values are there because I'm using the same browser, and if I'm coming on the same origin, you will see that these values still persist. Okay, so cookies will come
but
here.
This will be on this particular computer which you are using, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Means
So
it
it
won't
will
work across the devices. If you will change your device, you will say that I am
Yes.
logging in with the
So
same
then-
account. It won't work.
So if it is persistent storage, then it is the storage inside the computer, no?
If
I mean,
it is specific to browser. This is being stored in your browser, not in your hard drive. Are you getting it?
Browser is also being allocated some memory.
Yeah.
And there, okay, specific to that memory, it is being stored. Okay.
Yeah. So whoever was asking that question, can you please tell me the question number? Maybe we can discuss that first.
Okay, sir, let me check.
Is it a practice based or an activity question or a graded question?
Sir, that question was present in both in practice and graded assignment. And in the practice assignment, the question was a little bit different. Just the output was different. Yeah, that one.
This one, question number 6.
Yes.
The below code is trying to validate a
Yes,
form,
yes.
showing number of items ordered are 10. Minimum of 2 items of food are added.
No, sir. Let me check, sir. I will tell you.
Okay. Okay, I got it. You are probably talking about this local storage one, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Yes, sir.
So what your doubt was? May I know?
So my doubt was that like the button value, which is a true or false, right? Means this is error and this.
Okay,
So,
okay. The value of this is error.
Yes. So it was getting saved in the local storage, but even then, my color was not reflecting based on this is error. It is always giving me the false value. So when I see the
False
local
value?
storage, yes.
Okay.
If you want, I can share that link where I post the debug thing as well.
Okay, so according to you, what should be the answer for this question, if I'll ask?
So the answer is okay for this. So, but similar question in the graded assignment is actually the exact question that I was asking. And
okay. I'll come to grade.
Yes, I think it was the 8th or 9th.
This one, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so say you open the index.html file in a browser and write "w" in the text input shown on the screen, and click on the paragraph element with the text correct. Then force reload the page. Okay. what will be the value in the input text box and class applied to the paragraph element.
So this class applied is the question actually, because it should actually save the value and it should be success only. So it is showing the success in the storage, but still the class assigned is different than that. So that is the question.
Okay, so see. So what is going to happen is that when you are going to, enter the text Abhi in this text box, and after that you click on this paragraph. Now, the reason for asking you to click on this paragraph is because we are using an event called change.
Yes.
Now, this change event will only get triggered when you will click somewhere outside this input text box that is being shown. If you won't click outside of that input text box, then this event won't get triggered.
Okay.
So the reason for asking you to click on this paragraph, or it should not be paragraph specifically, it can be anything else, outside the text input box. So it can be anything. So when this method will get triggered, or this event will get triggered change, it will in turn trigger this method called check. This check will do is, this will check whether the name length is greater than 3. So since we are entering Abhi here, definitely the length is greater than 3, it is 4. So what it is going to do is it is going to set is error to false, right?
Yes, sir.
It is going to set it to false, and after that, local storage.name is going to be what was written here, that is Abhi, and is error is going to become false, right?
Yes, sir.
So that means you are creating two key value pair in the local storage. One is name, whose value is going to be Abhi. The other one is error, whose value is going to be what? False.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now after that, that says that you force reload the page. Now when you are force reloading the page, of course, this page, the DOM will be constructed once again, and this mounted hook will get triggered, right? Now, when this mounted hook will get triggered, what will happen is that it will check that if there is any such key that exists in local storage, that is name. So do you think that name exists? Yes, it does.
Yes.
It exists and it has the value Abhi.
Yes.
Now, when this condition has become true, you will go inside this function implementation, and what we are going to say is that there is a data variable of this view called name. You are going to fetch the value of name from the local storage. So that means name is going to be assigned with Abhi. So that means since we are using V model here, name will show here. And this dot is error, local storage dot is error. So it is going to return what? False, right?
False.
So when the false will, okay, I understood your confusion. Okay, so what you're asking is that if it is false, then it should be button success. But
yes,
it is
sir.
coming as button danger.
Yes.
Okay. So what happens is that whenever you fetch any value from local storage or session storage, they are always fetched in the form of strings by default. Let me show it here as well. I'll work with the session storage itself. So let's say what I'm going to do is I'm saying session storage dot set item. Let's say there is something called is error. And I'm setting it to false. Right. I'll go to session storage. You will see that is error has been set to false. Now, if I'll say that session storage dot get item is error, and I'm going to print it on the console. I know this is not going to help much, but of course, you can expect the value to be false, right?
Yes, sir. Whatever save should
so
be.
If I'll click on save, you will get false. But this is not telling us anything because we don't know what the type of this value is. But the moment you say, type of this session storage get item, then you will get. Okay. Now tell me that if I'll ask you if ABC, this is something, and you have written something, some code, and I ask you that the value of this ABC is this. What do you think? Will this condition will become true or not?
So it will become true because this is other than 0. That's why it becomes true.
And in this case?
In this case also it is true.
So that is what is happening in that question.
Okay, because it is fetching it as a string, not as a Boolean.
Correct. It is a string value, and that is a non-empty string. So every non-empty string is going to return what? True. So that is why button danger is a class that is associated with this paragraph.
Oh, that's a very tricky one.
Sir, I have doubt with the same problem.
Sir,
Yeah.
if you Chandra, just to continue this one, that's right. Can I share my screen and show you that when I was debugging it, actually for a while it was giving me the right output, but I don't know what happened that when it goes into its library and something, then actually it converted into like true, is error true. So earlier it was fetching the false value only. That's why it become green. Maybe because I have used a color as well to show it. Can I show that so that if just to debate more over this question, that if it is fetching it as a string, then from the beginning itself it should give me true.
From the beginning itself, yeah, it should be true, correct?
Yes. So can I share my screen and show you that?
I'm not sure if you will be able to share your screen because you need to
I'm
make the
not able
post.
to do that. Yeah, but if you, but I think if you go to the forum and if I share you the link of that where I post this these screenshots, probably we can discuss more over it. So
Sir, I pasted the code in the chat box for this question. Can you please copy in your VS Code for HTML and JS file? Because in my case, I'm getting different output.
Okay.
That is empty and the danger one button, red color button. So I wanted to discuss this.
Okay, so what you have done is there is called view data name is either a local storage dot name is
I
either
have given name Q8, so you need to change. I think that is in app.
what is Q8?
SRCS. In HTML file, the source file name is different. You need to change that.
No, means how the HTML file name is going to matter.
No. I pasted both the codes for question 8. The
Oh,
HTML
okay. You're
code as
talking about the code
yeah,
that
I'm
you're
talking about that. Yes. In my case, the name was not appearing and it was showing the red color button. I tried it many times.
probably because you have not clicked it somewhere, so it didn't got saved.
That's what
For saving, do we need to click? I clicked on the button. I clicked on button. It says that you click on the button, enter the name and click on button correct. So I did that.
Which button? Which button? There
button,
is no button as such here.
Correct question mark, that is there, no?
Okay, that is correct. Okay, that is correct. Okay. Yeah, so I have pasted everything. So question 8, it is going to be index.js here. And yeah. So now what do you want me to do to open it, right?
Try to run this code on your machine and let's see the result. Type here Abhi and press the button.
Abhi, yeah, I'm going to
press it.
Okay, click on it. And after that, I should refresh, right?
Refresh, yes. So it's still remaining, that is blank and correct.
I think
so it should be same, right? It should be danger only. Right?
It should be danger, but the name is not present in the local storage as well. I checked the local storage. Inspecting that.
This one. Let me check the code once. If this dot name dot length is okay, so let me open it.
And I got 0 marks for that.
Name is here. That means you are not using V model.
V model? What is that?
V model equals to I'll go there and we'll check the view. The name is Abhi. So there seems to be issue with this V model because the name is assigned the value of V.
So can we check index.js once?
Yeah. Now, what we are able to see is that the name is assigned with the value Abhi. So if name is there, that means in JavaScript, everything is fine.
But sir, in my case, it's not showing up Abhi. In your browser, it's showing up. In my browser, it's not showing up. The key value pair is empty.
So what you are probably doing is you are not clicking somewhere outside this input text box. This is what I can say. Because if you want this, if you want this method to be triggered, that is this check, you need to click somewhere outside that input text box.
Means after it was mentioned just to enter Abhi and click on the button and then refresh it.
Yeah,
so correct, I followed the steps. I did not click anywhere outside.
So this button is outside that text box.
So I clicked on the button. Sir. I refreshed it, and again I check inspecting that in application. It's not showing up. Now also it is not showing up.
That is the question actually.
Yeah, it's still empty. I can place this screenshot in recording this session on the discourse. In your end, it is working fine, but my end, it's not working.
Let me check the room of it. So it is saying that the value associated. That's strange. The model, that's the name. Change. Let's see if I enter something here. Application, I'll delete this. I'll write ABH. I.
So you need to click on correct button. Huh? Yes, it's not coming. Try to refresh it. Refresh the page. No, here, browser page, HTML page.
It should work even that way. So what is happening is change and the control is going to click.
Just check your curly brackets are in the right place. It should not happen that your local stage assignments are going into else.
The issue is that the method that you are binding here is click.
Okay.
And what you are writing here is check.
So please repeat.
You have written click here, but you need to write check here. Okay. So now if I will refresh it and I'll write ABHI, click on correct. So yeah, it came here. It changed the color as well. If I refresh it, so yeah, it is Abhi and it is red.
Yes.
So this small typo caused you that question.
Yes, sir.
Sir, can you please go to the discourse forum, please? There the screenshots are present.
Can someone please share me the?
Sir, I have passed that link. Sir, I passed that link in chat. So if you
sure, it's not able to remember which was that.
Assignment 6 question 3.
Is this one?
No, sir. It is practice assignment 6 Q3. Yes, this one.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes,
what is
now,
it?
So now, sir, look. This is the screenshot where I have given value more than 3 digits. So it is saving it like 126. Is error is equals to false, right?
Yeah.
Now go to the next screenshot, which is okay. Now I'm debugging it. So now when I'm debugging, you still see that there is a green color things. It means it is evaluating it to the false, right? Because the value stored in false. That is my assumption. But once I complete I have not completed the complete debugging, somewhere else it is making it again red. So this is my question, that if it is fetching it as a stream of a string, then actually it should be red from the beginning itself. So that is, and this 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7 is actually coming from the local storage itself, because I'm not doing anything now. I'm just running it in a debug mode. So that is the question. So I got your explanation that error is coming as a string. That's why it is making it true, and that's why it is red. So that is from the output perspective, I am fine. But when I'm debugging, why it is coming as green in between? So that is the only question.
So what I'm not able to understand here is that which is the latest statement that is executed in both of these.
Sir, actually, that is very hard because it is going in library again and again. So I was not able to find that exact location. But it is giving me first green and then making it red eventually. So the eventual thing is clear now. But why it is green from the beginning? That is the only question. So now, if suppose, if in the same question, if I make it like 1, 2, 3, less than 3, it will come from the beginning. It will be red and it will remain red even in the debug mode.
Yeah, because there should be no change. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's even difficult for me to.
Yeah, but that is interesting, that why it is green and then it is making it red. So somewhere either it is reading the right value as a boolean, and then probably at the end it is making it as a string and then doing it.
Okay, so maybe what is happening is, so when this new instance is loaded, but again that will point out to the same, should be no, not sure how it is making it, but I think it is fetched as a string value only. I don't think that is of any problem here. It's to be something else. So have you tried it multiple times?
Yes, sir, multiple time. In fact, I think I spent more than 1 hour just to debug this thing and doing multiple times and all those things. And at that time, I didn't know that there is a graded question on this. I was able to solve that only because I did this practical thing. Even at that time, it was not occurring to my mind that it is taking it as a string. That's why it is making it eventually it as a true. Although local stage values were false only, but it means so I made it from the practical point of view. I made the question right, but this thing actually was perplexing me now, that why in between it was green and then it is making it red. So green color signifies that it has actually read the correct value as false.
Okay, so there is one more thing I want to ask, that you have set your breakpoints to be these lines, line number 27 and line number 1050.
Yes, sir. These are the library breakpoints, and I was missed randomly because when it just to check that at exact line, but I was not able to went to the exact line because it was going again loop in loop. Means it was too much stacking into the library that it was very hard to go line by line, and so then I lose my patience.
I wanted to check, means was there any specific reason? Because of course I can understand if it's a library code, you can do some trial and errors to find out that which is the actual breakpoint you are looking for.
But sir, okay, sir, leave it. I think this is just an interesting thing only, and maybe in the interest of everybody else, probably we can.
Yeah. Okay, so that was you. Yeah, so since the deadline has been over, so this is precisely the reason that
Yes.
everything is fetched as a string value. So that's why danger class will be associated with it.
So can you please discuss that value is equal to check is there, and we are not using checkbox. Still it is working with the button.
No, sorry, can you repeat?
We are using v on change is equal to check, no?
Yeah.
So how does it functions?
It is functioning.
See, what you are doing is you are saying that whenever a change event will occur, you are required to invoke this function that I am providing as an argument key. So whenever a change event occurs for this input text box, then this check function should be triggered. That should be defined somewhere in your view methods. Now, if you will go to your view methods, this is the function or method that is defined. Previously, it was written to be click.
So here change means anything that you change in the text box, but don't click outside. of that text box. Is that?
No. Change means you write something to make some change and you click outside.
Okay. Fine.
There is one more event called input. If I'm not wrong, if I'm not mistaken, input means that if there is any change in the input text box, you don't even need to click anywhere outside.
That is what I was confused with. Okay.
So there are 2 or 3 types of such events. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, there was a small type.
And what is the difference in click and check? Click will be, the button will be when clicked, the status will change.
That is a user-defined method. That is a user-defined method. This check is something that you have defined explicitly.
Yes,
you can even write your name here. Then in that case, you need to replace this check even with your. This should be the function name that you have defined in your view instance.
Okay.
This is not something that is predefined.
Okay, got it, sir. Sorry. By mistake, I write it, click.
No issues, no issues.
Yeah.
Okay, and by the way, is there any other question in the week 6 that has any confusion?
Sir, the last one. Yeah. Can you please discuss that one?
So in order to test the app is correctly validating the username, what should be the expected assertions below for C1, C2, 3, and 4?
Sir, I did not understand that. Will you please explain the flow?
So basically
The
what
JS
happens
part.
is that, yeah, the way we write test cases, let's say in case of Python, we can write it with the help of PyTest, we can write it with the help of unit test. So there are so many other frameworks that you can use. In the same way, you also have some frameworks or some libraries through which you can test the code that is written using Vue. So this is one of those. What you're doing is you're basically just creating a shallow copy of whatever DOM that you have created in your Vue. So what it will do is it will just create a copy of that, and all of these test cases will be evaluated against that, the virtual kind of shallow DOM that you have just created with the help of this method. Now, what is happening is that you created this object. What you are doing is you are saying that there is some kind of attribute username somewhere in the DOM, and what you want to set, what you want to assign is to that attribute is what is this space and repeat 7 times. That means you want to write 7 spaces in this particular attribute or this element. So now you need to go back to your HTML and see what is this username. So you will find username is what? It is this input. So if you will say that username data variable value is now 7 spaces. So what will happen is that it is going to put 7 spaces in this input text box.
Yes.
Right. And after that, what it is doing is it is checking wrapper.find.error exist. So what it is checking is that if in the entire DOM, is there any class or is there any element that is associated with a class named error? Now you need to check that when this error class will be associated with a particular element. So you can see that error class is defined here, but when this error class will be associated is when this condition will be true, when this error value will be true, right?
Yes.
So this is where this error is coming from. Oh, sorry, this error class is coming from. Now, when this error will be true, that again, you will have to see in the JavaScript that what is happening. So error is defined here. So you need to check if this is returning true or not. So what you will check is this dot username dot trim dot length. So this dot username is what? 7 spaces. The moment you apply trim method to it, that means what you are doing is you are removing all of the leading and trailing spaces. So let's say if you have a string of 7 spaces, 7 space characters, and you just remove all of the leading and trailing spaces, what you will be left with?
There will be 5 spaces now.
You will be left with an empty string.
All will be removed in this case?
Yeah, of course. Leading and trailing spaces. So there are only spaces in that string. There
only
is nothing.
Spaces. Okay. It will be empty.
So the moment you trim it, the length of the string becomes what?
0.
Becomes 0. So in that case, this condition would satisfy, right? It will be evaluated to true. And what you are doing in such cases, returning true. Now, the moment you return true, that means if becomes true, that means this element will come on the DOM. It will be visible on the DOM.
Yes.
Now, if it is visible, that means there is one element on the DOM that has this class error. So with that, what will happen is that this condition, that is find.error exists, it will become true.
Yes.
It means error class will exist. So what we are expecting here it to be the existence of this error class, it should be true. So this is what you need to fill in. That C1 should be what? It should be true.
So what is the meaning of dot to be?
But what the value? What is the expected value?
Okay. And if I write here opposite value by mistake, then what will be the case? Suppose here it is expected to be true, and I write false, then
it will return something else.
Okay.
I'm sorry, just give me a minute. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so this value of C1 should be true. And in case, let's say you, what you do is you write false here. So what it is going to happen is that it is saying that, the error class, the existence of this error class, it should be false. So that means you are writing a wrong test case.
So it's simply a expected value that I'm going to write in 2B.
Yes.
Whether that is matching or not, that will give me the result.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Good.
Sorry.
Now clear, sir. We can check I can check the rest of the cases.
Yeah. So the only confusion here was
underscore also is removed.
No.
What it is doing is it is just trimming. So trimming means it is just going to remove the leading and trailing white spaces. So of course, underscore is not a white space. The other thing is that the special condition that we are applying here is for 33 to 47 and 58 to 64. Now, this underscore doesn't come under that range.
Yes.
Right. So that's why it should also return 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So since this condition will become false here, this will also become false. So it is going to return basically false from that function. So that's why it should be false here, C4.
Yes, sir. Now it is clear.
Okay. Is there any other question in the graded?
Sir,
yeah.
Sir, we come to know that whenever it picks up the values from the local store, it is picking it up as a string. Is there any function through which we can check that convert typecasting of that into Boolean or something, so that
you can do that. Okay, so I guess I forgot to cover that part here. Yeah, thanks for reminding me. I meant to cover that, but question. Let me just storage APIs. Let me just ask that if there is any other question that we shall discuss, else I will come on to that part.
Yes, sir. I have a doubt in this question.
Which one?
That we are doing right now. Different question graded assignment 6.
Okay, 6.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so consider the following markup index.html and JavaScript file app.js for an application. Suppose
sir,
the
I have a specific doubt.
Sorry?
I have a specific doubt regarding that to be C1. We are passing C1 as 7 spaces, and the trim function will trim the spaces on the left hand side and the right hand side.
Yes.
If there is a string like ABCD, but there is no string ABCD like that. So how it is trimming? I did that in browser and there is no trimming.
There is no trimming, sorry.
Console.log this function username.trim function .length. Then it is showing 7. And that's why I think that it returns true for C1.
Oh, the reason it is returning true, that means this condition is getting satisfied, right? And do you think that if it is not trimming, then it can still return true?
Yes, sir. It is not trimming actually.
So what you're saying is that this trim is not doing anything, is it?
No, sir. There are still 7 spaces.
Okay. Or maybe
I tried doing that in JavaScript and it returns 7 spaces.
So currently it is returning the length to be 9. So now you can see that it changed to 4.
No, sir, only spaces, no alphabets. And then we bring.
It has become 0.
So I think I have a bug in my course. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So someone was asking some other question. Was it question number 6 or 7? Or I guess that was related to this 7, this value here.
No, so we were asking like typecasting the boolean.
Yeah, sure. That I'm coming on. Okay, so let me discuss that part itself. There is no other thing. So if I will come back to this index.js. Okay. So now suppose what I'm doing is I am let's say I create an object, say const a equals to what? Let's say I'm creating an object, okay, and I want to store that object in my session storage or local storage. So what I'm going to do is, let's say I create something, name equals to Abhi and place equals to then. Okay. Now I say that session storage dot set item. Say there is something called object. It can be anything, right? And what I want to store as a value to this key is A. And what is this A? A is an object that I have defined. Is the live server still running? Yes, it is still running. I'll go there. I'll go to this document, I guess. This is still document. Yeah. I'll go to the application session storage. So you can see now. Wait. Okay, let me open this once again. I'm not sure that which page was previously. What is it? Or have I changed the HTML file name as well? Okay, forgot to write that script. src text.js. My server is running. Go to inspect application session storage. So now you can see that I have something here, right? In case of object, you can see that there is some value associated with it, right? You are able to see that, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, if I go to index.js and I say that I want to print the value, so .log session storage dot get item. So I want you to understand one thing here. The value is object. What do you think? What value do you expect from session storage to return?
Maybe the type of the object.
Sorry?
Type of the object, kind of.
This is going to return what is being shown here. That is object, right?
Okay.
This is not going to return anything else. You are getting this. That means you are not even able to store the objects in the session storage. Am I correct?
Yes, sir. It appears.
So can someone suggest me a way through which I can, get this object added into my session storage? without losing the actual information.
And the actual format of it, is it?
Correct.
By typecasting it?
Yeah.
But how to do it, I don't know.
Okay. I hope all of you remember that in week 1 or week 2 lecture, I'm not able to recall exactly. There was one API that we talked about, that was JSON API.
Stringify and JSON.
So what I am going to do is I am going to use the stringify method.
JSON.stringify.
And I am going to stringify this object. Okay, so it has already shown this output here. I should have been on the different screen. Okay, so now you're able to see that I am, storing this in the form of string. That means I'm not losing the actual information that I want to store, and I am able to store it in the session storage. But the demerit here is that when I am going to get it back, what is happening is it is giving me the correct output, but it is no more an object. What is it? It is a string. Because if I will do what? If I'll say
JSON
type of session storage, so what should it return?
String.
It should return string. Right? So that means I cannot use it the way I work with object. I cannot say that whatever it is returning, just tell me that what is the name attribute value with that object. It is returning a string, and I cannot say dot name here. It is going to give me an error, or basically undefined. Okay, so it is not working the way I'm expecting it to. So just the way we use this stringify method, is there any other method through which we can convert a string into an object?
JSON.
Parse.
Exactly. I can use json.parse method. json.parse. And now if I click on, if I'll save the changes, so you will see that I will no more get a string, I'll get an object. So yes, I'm getting an object, right? That means it is up to you to store the required information in the required format. That means you should store everything in the form of string, but when you are fetching that, you can typecast it into into anything the way you want it to be. In the same way, if you want to typecast it into Boolean, you can do it. You can typecast it into number. You can typecast it into any other thing that you want. So does that answer your question? Whoever was asking that.
Sir, can we check one example with the Boolean so that I?
Yeah, sure. So what I'm going to do is I will get sessions.
I have a doubt here.
Yeah, please.
When I write JSON.stringify, it is going to convert key and the value both as a string, right?
Yeah, correct.
My doubt here is that from line number 19 to 22, whatever I define name and place, that is also string, and whatever the value I assign, that is also string. Still, why is it not being considered as a JSON object or the JSON format?
In what case? When we are not stringifying it?
When we are not stringifying it. Means
so
when
does
I
it
write
matter
session,
what the internal content is? What is the type of that variable? It is an object.
Okay.
Object is not supported.
Okay, so it depends on type. Every time I need to check and confirm it.
Yes.
That doesn't simply mean.
Of course, it works with object because we saw that if you will try to store Boolean, it automatically converts it into string, but it cannot do it for objects. So you will have to explicitly use stringify method for that.
Okay, sir. Is that also true for the application storage? Sorry, local storage.
Yes.
Okay.
Whatever we are doing with session storage, the same thing applies for local storage as well. The difference that they carry, we have already discussed.
Yes, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir.
So now, if I go to my application, session storage. So we are able to see that we have something in check here. Now, if I want to retrieve this, console.log session storage.get item, the value is going to be check. But right now it is going to be type of that will be a string. Now you just need to use the Boolean thing to get it converted to what? Boolean type. And now you should be getting it as Boolean.
Okay, sir, got it.
Okay. So yeah, thanks for bringing this up. I completely lost track of this, that I also wanted to discuss it. So in case you want to store objects in your storage APIs or via storage APIs, so please make sure that you stringify them while storing, and you can convert it into back to the object data type while fetching. All right. So is there any other question?
But when we are specifically typecasting it to Boolean, then type of will give return Boolean only, no?
Yeah. So that's what his question was, that how do we convert it into Boolean?
Okay.
Am I missing something? That's what your question was, right? Whoever was asking that.
Yeah, perfect, sir. I got it now.
Okay.
That question, this question was actually in relation to that error button. So I got it now.
Okay. 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 Yeah. Is there any other question that we shall discuss here now? Okay. Meanwhile, I'll stop sharing.
Sir, when are we going to cover one session on that GitHub?
GitHub, I guess Narendra did quite a few things in the previous session, as far as I can remember.
We observed 2-3 commands, but he said that he will be conducting one session in today's schedule. But I think that is what I wanted to know. If it is not conducted today, is there any plan of conducting in next session?
Okay, so let me just recall what he did in the last class, in the last session. I guess he already cloned the repository. He showed you how you can,
Yes.
whatever changes you have made locally, how you can commit those changes in the local repository, and after that, how can you push them, right?
Yes.
May I know means what else are you looking for?
Yes,
this is generally what we do using it.
Yes, sir. What I did is that I created a repository on my account on GitHub. Suppose I try to access that on 2 different machines. If I just pull it on 2 different machines and try to upload it, modifying on 2 different machines, then that time it is showing the error. It is asking for some verification. That part I do not understand. Second thing, there is a branch called as a master.
Yes, you can only push if you have the required rights, or if you have the required permissions to push to that particular repository.
But sir, if the 2 machines are there and in parent directory, I pull it from the GitHub, whatever the link.
Are you using the same account in both the machines?
I'm using the same account, but the folder name is different. I tried to do that on 2 different machines with different folder name. I tried to wanted to see what happens in that case. So it was, in one case it was easily uploading. In second case it is not uploading. It was asking me for some extra verification. That one I checked. It created 2 copies. One is one as a verified, and second one is there. If you want, I can share that screenshot on Discourse.
Yeah, sure.
Exactly, and second thing, sir, what I did not understand, by default the branch is a master. If I want to work with different branch, how can I manage that? And what is the concept of fork?
You want to create a branch in the local repository or in the remote repository? In
remote repository from the local machine.
So what you can do is you can create a local branch first by using the command git branch, or you can even use git checkout. You can use the B flag.
B flag is there.
Yeah, what it will do is that it will even create the branch and will move the control to that particular branch.
Yes.
So after you will commit the changes, that branch will automatically be created there as well.
And next time, if I want to upload to particular branch, how can I make that?
So
from the
like
local
you say,
machine?
git push origin master. So this master is what? This is the branch name.
Okay.
So if
push
you want
push origin master. Okay. So instead of that, I will be writing push origin.
What you would be doing in most of the cases is you would be writing git push origin master. This is the command that you usually use to push your code. So master is what? This is the branch name where you want to push.
Okay. And with that, we use some flags, flag O, F, M. What are those?
Of course, you will have to read about such flags. There is one flag called force as well. So there are so many flags that you can read about. So I basically wanted to understand the exact context. So maybe if you can post those screenshots, we can look
okay, sir. I will do that. And what is the concept of fork, sir? When we use a fork?
So let's say what happens is that I have hosted a repository, right? What I want you is I invited all of you to, make some contributions. So what will you ideally do is you will first fork that repository. You will make a clone of that repository in your local machine. You will make changes locally. You will test them. Once you are satisfied, you are going to push them to your remote repository. That is a forked repository. And from there, you are going to create a merge request. And since I am the owner of that repository from which you fork, so when you will send a merge request, I will verify, I will review that merge request. And if it is okay, then whatever code that you have or that you have written, that code will be reflected in the original repository from where you fork.
Okay. So you wanted to say the branch and fork are two different things. When we multiple people working on the same project, we go with fork. Okay.
They are different. Okay. So basically the concept of, maybe I can just give you an example. Why do we need a branch? No, let's say you are working on a project, right? You have currently released, let's say version 1.1, right? It has no bugs. It has, no issues at all. And everything is working fine. But now what you want to do is you want to work on the next version. Now, suppose if there is one branch called, latest, just for an example, latest. And what is there in that branch is the current code that is in the production.
Okay.
Right. Now, what you can't do is you cannot make the changes in that latest branch itself. Because why? Because that code is already in production.
Already deployed, huh?
Right. So what you will do is you will fork or you will create a different branch. And you will start doing your further development in that branch because that is not going to affect the latest branch. The code that is there in the production.
Okay. Yeah.
And once you are satisfied, once you have done all of the testing for the next version coding that you are writing, then what you can do is you can merge those changes into your latest branch. That will go into the production.
Okay. But it will not get merged. It will create another committed copy.
It will create
another means it will create another commit. So it will be one more copy created in that branch. I cannot replace the code that you said, the latest one now, which I modified in another branch.
Yeah.
Which is already deployed.
Yeah.
So if I want to modify it, I need to use the code which is created into the new branch. I cannot modify the previous one, which is in the earlier branch. That is no?
No, I'm not getting your point, sorry.
So you said now that there is a, suppose there is a master and then there is a branch and the code written in the branch is with the name latest and that is already being deployed and I want to modify that. So I go on creating one more branch and modify the code. And then that branch code which I modified, I need to deploy again. I cannot deploy.
Yeah, correct. So what you will do is you will merge that branch with your actual branch, which is actually deployed.
Okay. I can merge it so it will get replaced with the current one.
Correct. But yeah, while doing development, you cannot, of course, do the development in your actual branch, which is different.
Sir, how is it different from the waterfall model? In waterfall model, you cannot go back.
In waterfall model, you cannot go back. So what you are asking is that how is it different? So,
or it is still based on the waterfall model. I'm not sure. That's why I'm asking.
You're talking about branches now.
In the GitHub, you can go back to the previous state.
Yeah, that's what I'm confused about. So you are saying that you're comparing it with waterfall. You are saying that it works on the waterfall model.
Yeah, I was comparing with the waterfall model.
No. Are you sure that it works on the waterfall model?
No, I'm not sure. That's why I'm asking actually.
Okay. No, in GitHub, that's the greatest advantage. That means you can revert to any previous version whenever you.
Okay.
Yes. The whole idea of version control is to save the state of your code, so you can move one state to other.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if I tell you about the basic flow, that what happens is, let's say I created one repository. I invited you to make contributions. What you will do is you will first create a fork of that repository. You will clone that repository in your system. You will do local changes. After making those local changes, you are going to push those changes to your repository, right? The repository that you own, and that is forked from the original repository for which I am the owner.
Okay.
Once the changes have been pushed to your repository, your remote repository, now you are able to, or you are in a position to send a merge request to the original repository from where you forked.
Okay.
So this is basically the workflow that generally happens.
And then you verify and accept, or you can deny. That
of course, the owner or whoever is responsible for accepting the merge request, that guy is going to review your merge request. And yeah, if that seems to be okay, then that guy will, of course.
So everything this is done means manually. We are doing it manually. We are creating branches. Automatic process is not there of version control.
Yeah.
It cannot keep a track of previous version 1.1, then 1.2. That we have to decide. We have to
do the
nomenclature. Okay.
Yeah.
I was in under impression that there is something automatic module that takes care of whatever you go on building. It will be allocating the versions to it.
No.
But now it's clear
you are free to define your own branch. Can be
okay,
whatever.
Okay. Yes, very much clear, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. I guess everyone has already left. Okay. So, well, we'll meet again in the next week, right, on Tuesday. Till then, yeah, have a good weekend. Bye.
Bye, sir. Thank you.